Okay, we're started. Warning, folks, this might have some prejudiced language in it. You know, back in the time when this was set, racist people were pretty upfront about their prejudices. You know. Let's see. Drop number one sentence, boys. Actually, Pete wasn't fond of the Jade either. Since Pete never got in a few fist fights, and unlike some other Handel's relatives in the last war, had some backup from some white guys who stood up for him. Pete had done good for those guys. Then they weren't about to just stand there and let him get his ass whooped because he was black. Just because he was black. Yeah. I have a story of one of my high school teachers told me about how he would stand up for people against racism, and I thought that was very inspiring. Let's see. This is kind of based on his account. Let's see. It's done good for you. So Pete got bruised, but he didn't get beaten to a pulp. And the guys who picked fights with him ended up a lot worse off than him. It helped that the guys with Pete were pretty good at fighting. Half of them grew up on the roughest streets in Buffalo City. Buffalo City is New York City in this universe. It's not a stand-in for Buffalo, where I live, which will probably have a different name if it ever gets mentioned. Buffalo as in my Buffalo is not mentioned much in this series. I mean, you know, I haven't come up with a name yet for it, you know. It's just like an industrial city by the Canadian border, very close to it. Just a stone's throw away, really, to Niagara Falls and so on. And the Great Lakes, where we get bad weather in the winter from the lake effect snow. I'm not sure how it works, but that's how it is. Many of them were good friends with famous gangsters in that city who took a different path in life. Yeah, not a good path, but a path, path nonetheless. These people were friends, having grown up in the rough streets of Buffalo City. The other half at least knew how to fight. To fight and win a fight. They had been prejudiced against Pete when he first joined the squad, but they warmed to him quickly. Pete apparently never picked a fight with anybody. Everybody else always tried to fight him instead. Also, prejudice. Pete didn't care much. Didn't like the Jade. Like the Jade less than racist. Because the racists never managed to do the harm to him that the Jade did. He took a poison bullet to the right leg, thigh, and close to the knee, to and above the knee. The doctors had the flesh became infected and the doctors cut a large chunk out of Pete's leg. There wasn't a serious injury. He wasn't in pain afterwards and had no trouble walking. But he was conscious of the nasty wound, which looked a lot like some little shark head. Shark teeth. Yeah, I usually say shark teeth. Check. Merman. Shark teeth. Check. Other word. Road. My notes for myself are pretty much in code. I assume if I ever get a publisher, they'll probably just do the same, I guess. Conscious of the nasty one. Looked a bit like some shark head. Taking a bite out of him. Taking a hamburger-sized bite out of him. And how big of a chunk? Sized. What's a bigger thing? A steak size. Bite out of him and ran off, swam off into the deep. He came up with various stories, fake stories to tell people how he lost that meat off his bone. I've been having internet troubles all day. Very annoying, you know. I don't know why internet is so bad in our area. Apparently bad infrastructure, and they won't replace it. I don't know why. You think they'd be losing customers left and right with this bullshit. Various fake stories. Part of it might be because we have so many devices on the internet. We got 3 computers, we got DirecTV, satellite, we got all those little Alexas. They all have to use the internet to work, so, you know. Should probably get rid of all that shit. Don't need it. I've never used the Alexa in my room. I unplugged that bastard. Like it was Hitler on life support. Tell people how he lost that meat off his bone. One of them. Some people. Sometimes he said it was. He said it was a shark. Shark. Bite. Other times it was something more fanciful. Like he ran into some zombie. Ghoul virus. Zombie. The ghouls, yeah. Then I think I should have given Dami the ghoul virus, so she would have had like some weakness, you know. Because it turns you into a mindless creature on occasion, and you know. It's important for characters to have some kind of weakness. But I kind of made her a godlike figure, and godlike figures, you know, gods usually in mythos didn't have any, like, physical weaknesses. Their weaknesses were mostly of the personality persuasion, being very, feckless, and sex-crazed, and arrogant, and, childish. I guess that's why the Greek gods seem so human to me, because they have all the human traits of people, being very vain and stupid. Let's see. But of course, if you or me were a god, we would probably be the same way. Let's see, like he ran into some ghoul like a zombie and it nibbled on his leg while he was climbing up a tree to escape it and its brethren, who numbered about 100. Peter never encountered a ghoul zombie ghoul, let alone 100 of them at once. Handler. Did I call him Handler again? Handle was pretty sure Sure, there weren't 100 ghouls together anywhere on the planet these days. They're probably gonna cure the ghoul virus eventually. Yeah, don't count your breath. Been waiting for a cure for how many diseases? Let's see. Handle went back and forth. I'm wishing that Pete was here with him. Pete or Peter? He's not Peter. There's a world of difference between Pete and Peter. There's nobody named Peter in the story currently besides Pete, but... He was glad none of his kin was here. Oh, I said kind. No, there's other black people here. I don't think I said that he was the only black person on the base. It would be kind of strange. Because the army was very desegregated in 1957. And, you know, it had been desegregated since the Korean War. Let's see. And this is years after that, so... It was probably in this universe, actually, even before the Korean War. But I'm not sure. I'll have to check. That's when you're doing alt history, you can't rely on actual history if you're going by it. Like, you know, in our history, there's a definitive start to when desegregation happened in the army, but in their universe, who knows? Might have happened in 1940, for all we know. So he was glad none of his kin was here, so he didn't only had to worry about his own safety, his safety and those of his comrades, Dominique and so on. Dominique, Yetters, and Gray. And we'll assume that Angel didn't have any sick kin to worry about, and as far as he knew, he didn't have any kids running around. Any kids he didn't know about. Handel's was not a virgin, but his sex life was never really bustling, never bustled. His sex life was never over. It was never particularly busy. Not even in his teenage years. Is he still a teenager? I'll have to check. I decide, yeah, I'm gonna develop all these people, I think. I'm not sure if I gave Gray much development. Gray, check. What's Gray's story? Does he have a story? Let's see, group stranded, area wiped out. Teenage years. It was kind of sad. Besides his brother, parents, and his uncle. Nobody would remember him if he died. Maybe he should. He was thinking about how he might correct that. Thinking about how he might correct that after this was over. He could find his one true love. Settle down with her. Have some kids. That That'll be a happy ending. And I suppose. Some kids. You never want to do that. Do that before, but being in a life or death situation was said to change one's, but surviving a life or death situation like this was said to change a man's priorities. Some men got more religion, and some got less. Some lifelong bachelors got married and had kids. Men with wives, and sometimes the opposite. Sometimes the opposite happened. With married men divorcing their wives, and going off and going off to become hermits. Yeah, possible. And we'll pass some alcove with some wounded men being tended to by medics and some regular guards, bloodied uniforms, some civvy guards, their bloodied blue uniforms. One of the guys on the floor was all bandaged up, was bloodied. One of the wounded guys on the floor was all bandaged up about the face and bloody about his uniform. Blood was on the bandages, and the man didn't see him. Any bullet wounds. You'd think it'd be great to be a relative of Dominique, but usually not. A lot of them ended up getting killed or terrible stuff happening to them. Let's see, he did seem to have any bullet wounds. He had the same sort of built and black hair. Did they say he had black hair? I wish he would. Sometimes I wish for an AI helper here, he says, who might pop up and say, you didn't say he had black hair, you said he had blonde hair. Black hair is Dominique Green. And Handel couldn't see his face. Handel got down next to the soldier, who seemed to be moaning. Who was moaning and seemed out of it. That you, Dominique? That you, Sergeant Green? Is that Green with two E's? I mean, with an E at the end? Handel asked. One of the Zedian soldiers immediately barked. Keep your mitts off him. On the unwounded. Keep your mitts off him. Handel looked up at him. The angry man features an angry look of his own. Something that a black man or a soldier, black soldier, wouldn't have done about 10 years ago, and certainly not earlier. I didn't touch him, Handel said. Keep it that way. The soldier replied, retorted instantly. Handel looked to the civvy guards, who averted their eyes, I'm trying to avoid the situation. The civvy guards were supposed to be on their best behavior they couldn't get away with racist remarks of any sort, thanks to their government contracts. Handel heard of one of them. Heard that a while back. One of them got fired for calling some black officer yeah, that unfortunate word. He was after that, the civvy guards didn't look upon any black people with more than a neutral expression. With worse than a neutral expression. And were often smiled and nodded at them. At black soldiers in passing. Handel supposed people would wonder what those guards were on, treating black people so nicely, kindly. Are you Dominique Green? Handel asked the bandage man. Perhaps he had amnesia, Handel thought. He's one of our own. He's one of ours. One of the soldiers muttered. One of the unwounded soldiers muttered. So keep away from him. This is your last goddamn warning. Handel stood up then, gripping his M16. Or what? Handel asked. What are you gonna do? Yeah, gonna start a fight? The soldier seemed at a loss for words. I'm not gonna do shit, Handel replied. Guess if the black people down south had guns like this already, they'd have less trouble. Less trouble from you white folks. Or northerners. Soldier replied to that. All of us. We're not, yeah. Handel said. Handel decided to be brazen enough to ask a question. And to ask it in a less than nice tone. Any of you fellas see a guy, Sergeant Dominique Green? Handel asked. Or a guy named Private Gray? Afraid not, soldiers replied. Alright. Okay then. See you fellas around. Handel said and took his leave. He didn't look over his shoulder. He didn't look over his shoulder to see how those soldiers were watching him. He assumed none of them, crazy enough to aim a rifle at him, or maybe even shoot him in the back. Andrew felt a little guilty then, not because he had not over his treatment of those whites, but because it might end up causing trouble for another black man down the line, like these white soldiers would take out their anger at their humiliation on some random black man. Maybe it's another soldier, or maybe just some guy walking down the street, minding his own business. There, humiliation by handle. Check odd wording. Maybe some other soldier, maybe some guy walking down the street, minding his own business. Huh. I guess this is quality writing. What would you say, folks? I feel like when I cover social issues like this, I should be a bit more, top of my game. When you bring up real world stuff. Anyway, folks, have a nice day. Sayonara.